Mitchell Watt, forward of the men's basketball team, and you're in the bullseye.
From Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, you're in the Bullseye. I'm Paul Peck, radio voice of Buffalo Bulls football, following a very disappointing 34-0 loss by the Buffalo Bulls to the Temple Owls. Senior safety Josh Copeland summed it up best when he said, "This one hurts." Bulls were not able to do a lot of things well, and then Mac Power and the Temple Owls were able to do almost everything they wanted to do, and that's why the reflection of the final score tells you it was a very long day for the Buffalo Bulls. But Copeland also added that this won't happen again. We will analyze and break down exactly what happened to the Bulls here in Temple, and you will hear some of the post-game comments of Jeff Quinn and players like Josh Copeland.
There's a lot of plays that I didn't make, and then that I left out on the field that really burned me. So, and I let the team down. So, this one hurts.
Also on this week's edition of the Bullseye, we'll talk cross-country with Caitlin Curry as the Bulls cross-country team just finishing up the Penn State National Invitational. We'll let you know how they did. And the basketball season gets started. Bulls Madness kicking off the beginning of practice for the UB men's and women's team. We'll take you to what is always a fantastic event full of dunk contests and shows and shooting drills. You name it, it's got a little bit of everything for the fans and the Bulls. We'll get you ready for the basketball season by taking you to the Madness. But first, we look back on this loss, a very disappointing one for the Buffalo Bulls, and a one that even caused Jeff Quinn to try to find some humor in a very tough day.
There was very little that we did right today, very little. And, probably the best thing that happened was we won the toss, coin toss. But after that, it was just, we got a lot to learn from it.
Payback 0-2, 1-2, payback!
I am joined by Bulls radio color analyst Jim Kubiak following this 34-0 loss to the Temple Owls. Some of the players admitted that they were surprised at their performance today, and I think I am a little bit too, Jim, based on how well the Bulls played against Ohio. It just seems a little shocking that they came out as flat as they did here in Philadelphia.
Well, I think the expectations were high coming off of that Ohio win, and certainly as Buffalo has committed to putting on some weight and being more physical from last year's game that was 42-0. There was expectations to come in here, run the football, and be physical, and it just didn't work out for Buffalo.
You hear a lot in football talk of the 24-hour rule, and a lot of times you hear it when a team has a big win. Don't get too high. You forget it after 24. Well, it applies for tough losses like this, and I think after some analysis by the Bulls coaches and the players to figure out what didn't go well, I think they'll put it behind them, but how easy is that?
Well, it's not easy at all. And, one of the things about film, Paul, is it's never as good as you think, and it's never as bad as you think. Buffalo did some good things here today, but when you talk about leveraging the football and protecting the edges, Buffalo just didn't do a good job of that defensively. And Temple has some good players, good offensive linemen, two great backs, and they got to the edge and really hurt Buffalo.
And Temple plays such a different style of game than most of the other teams in the Mid-American Conference. And I think the Bulls aren't the only ones who have struggled to sort of adapt to that. It is smash-mouth football in a league that tends to be known more for its quarterbacks and spread offenses.
Well, you're exactly right. They came in here with a plan, and the plan was that they were going to have two tight ends, and they're going to line their backs up in the eye, and they're going to pound the football. And they did that all day long. And, once a team like that gets ahead, it's very difficult to offensively get back in the game. Don't forget, coming in, Temple was the 7th-ranked defense in the country, allowing only 11 points per game. That's very significant, first in the MAC. So it was a tall order, and once Buffalo got behind, boy, it's very difficult to get back in the game.
We're going to hear some of the post-game comments of Jeff Quinn and the players in just a moment, but you had a chance to listen to them also. Did you get the sense from the players that that the attitude, the disappointment level is where it should be after a game like this?
Well, I think they were very disappointed. I think everyone came into this game expecting to win or expecting to be competitive, and once it got out of hand, I think there was a little bit of dejection in the players, and I think that's a good sign. Guys care on this football team. They're going to go back to the film room and really correct some of the physical and mental errors that were made, and that's all you can do as a player. You got to feel bad for 24 hours, correct what you need to correct, and then get back to business.
All right, well, let's give you some examples of exactly what the Bulls players and head coach Jeff Quinn had to say following this disappointing defeat. Let's take you into the Buffalo locker room.
We better improve. We better get back to looking at ourselves, number one, in the mirror, to determine, what our weeks of preparation is going to be like. There's not a lot to say other than we've got to learn, and we got a long way to go.
It just comes down to we made more mistakes than they did. Hack goes off the Temple. They're a great team, and we just got to come back, correct the mistakes, and get ready for Northern Illinois.